we need as many people coming and bringing us deals as we need them bringing us trades and bringing us merchandise, right? We can stay
Yep.
out of the auctions at that point in time if we were to do it. And those are the cars that are selling. There are vehicles everywhere for sale from private individuals. Over 50% of the cars are sold that way.
Yeah.
We need to tap that. And as a store, you could use all your employees to do it.
Hey, Jason Rice here. This is another View from the Top. Again, this is kind of an extension of our Up Bus podcast, but View from the Top is something that we put into our weekly newsletter for Lotpop. And what we do with the View from the Top is, we reach out to our performance engineers and our VPs and stuff that are in the trenches with our dealerships to try to get a better understanding of, sharing best practices and ideas with dealers out there, what we see going on. Today, we got Pam Humphrey. Now, she's been with us for quite a bit, and she has an extensive background in automotive. But her topic and her title for her newsletter was "It's All Hands on Deck When Sourcing Inventory." And Jeremy's another gentleman that we had on. We're talking about the private party acquisitions, but Pam digs a little bit deeper in other areas of their inventory and acquisition processes. So, Pam, give everybody a little bit of background about yourself.
I'm from the Middle Tennessee area. I've been in the car business for 40 years. I hate to say that, 40 years. So I've done pretty much everything in the dealership from, I've run a service counter, parts counter, ordered cars, bought cars, and ran the store for the last 10 years of my dealership experience there. So pretty much ran the three-ring circus is what I was doing. So.
And acquisition is always that toughest one for most dealerships, right? I mean, just trying to find the cars. If anything, I go into a dealership, what's your biggest challenge? It's always acquisition. Are you finding that still with your dealerships right now?
Absolutely. When we get these guys really selling their cars at a faster pace, then the problem becomes acquisition, the right cars at the right time. And, you can't rely on just one person buying those cars. It has to be a group effort, and everybody in the dealership can involve. Just like whenever we do anything and we involve the entire store, we have a better outcome. So.
Yeah, and you hit a few areas, and we'll go over each a little bit here. You talk about website, social media, service lane. We're talking about service BDC, missed trade opportunities, obviously private party acquisitions. We don't have to dig too much in that one. Like I said, we spent some time with Jeremy on that one. But, it's kind of an all buy-in, everybody. And to your point, yeah, as we start with dealerships, what I always say is, they love us the first month because inventory's starting to turn. They're starting to move inventory and things are okay, even if they're taking some hits, cleaning up some age. But by that second or third month, they start liking us, and love turning to like. And most of it is because now they got to figure out a way to feed the beast, right? And keep that, instead of carrying 100, selling 75, or carrying 100, selling 100. And now they've only had processes, to keep with that 75 pace. And now we're pushing them to another level. And so, it's an all-in thing. And website, you hit on a few topics there. What's some best practices, or what, you got about 6 things here that you said on websites that dealers should be looking at.
They've got to be able to have a landing page. I mean, these people will go onto your website and they want to sell their car, right? But you've got to handle that process a little bit better than a lot of the dealers do. I mean, those leads are different from the leads that you actually get in on buying a car. Those leads need to go directly to the managers, to someone that can actually help get a value on those vehicles, and then the follow-up. I mean, it's totally different from someone buying a car. We have to have, the speed to that lead, right, to make sure that we capture that information. And pardon?
Yeah, these call to actions, does your website or even on your physical lot, do you even have a call to action of acquiring cars? And, when you visit somebody's website, do they even have a banner there? Do they have a link? Is it just a form? But yeah, again, to your point, who handles that as soon as it comes in?
Well, it's all about the process, and everybody in the entire store needs to know the process. So what do they do when someone says they want to sell their car to you? What's the process?
What are you finding? I mean, is it just kind of an appointment setter trying to get into the door, or are you finding more dealers turning it over to the managers for that? And again, kind of what do you think is the best practice for that?
It depends on your process. You've got some of them that will put it through the BDC, and they're paid on is to get an appointment. So if they're trying to get an appointment out of these people, and the customer just wants to get a value, they want to get, they want to know what their car's worth, then it's kind of you don't get the results that you need. Those need to be turned over. We need to know that if the customer is actually selling that car, you're probably not going to get an appointment for the most part. It's gone to the where we have to do a sight unseen appraisal on those vehicles and give them something to start the conversation with. If you don't start the conversation, they're going to go on to the next person. There's other people out there, they will start the conversation. So that's it's mainly how we know what our process is, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the same as the CRM. The CRMs typically aren't prepared. I mean, you get somebody trying to sell you a car, you can't really just mark that lead as sold if you bought the car. It's a whole different metric, so it does need to be a whole different process. And sometimes, it's different people, and it's not just your website; it's social media. You create it. You talk about some things about, again, dedicated page. If I'm putting something out on social media about we buy your cars, and they click on it, where's it going? That's got to be on your website, and a good trade-in form to fill out. But again, I'll hit some of the things you say: clear messaging, educational post, engagement, with comments and messages, and promote trust, community engagement. And I think that's the biggest thing too. When we're talking about Jeremy and we're trying to do like a VBC or a buying center, it's not just that. I think, to your point earlier, it's an all buy-in, right? Pay plan structure with salespeople, even if the salespeople aren't responsible for acquisition, maybe their bonus or pay structure around that. Are you seeing dealers kind of doing things like that differently to get everybody bought in?
A lot of times the dealers will set up the process, and they'll set up a pay plan where they kind of tier it. If you bring in one X amount of dollars, two, three, and four, they kind of increase it. But the problem is that they're not executing on it. They're not involving everybody in it, so that because this could be a life changing pay for some of the people in the store if you get everybody involved in it. Um, but I see a lot of dealers that they have it listed, but they don't talk about it. They don't push it, and they need to do it throughout every single department, not just their salespeople.
Yeah, and I think because the other thing you talk about is service lane, and both service lane and service BDC. Not that it goes hand in hand, because it's obviously two different things. You got people actually in the service lane touching the car that somebody's bringing in to get service done, being able to maybe talk to that customer about getting a bid, versus like service BDC who's confirming appointments and stuff. Again, could we offer you a bid while you're here type scenario? But I think, in my eyes, and I just thought about this as we're talking, you get the service buy-in, and they're out there buying cars and getting paid off of it. I think other people will chime in like, hey, how they doing that, and try to get that whole buy-in. The hard part is, again, service lane people tend to want to make sure they're getting their service work done, but dealers have what, hundreds of cars coming through that service lane, sometimes thousands, and that I think would be the biggest honey hole to appraise cars.
Oh, there's more coming in your back door than is coming in your front door, and you just have to work the plan. Yes, your service people want to get that service work off of it, so you may have to pay them a percentage of that internal on those cars. Make it where it's like I said, it's life changing. You make $200 or $300 on a actual ticket, versus $200 or $300 that they get on every car that they send in. It shouldn't matter, right? They should be
Well, that's the
compensated
thing.
both ways.
As a dealer, you commit to that service work anyways, right? That's the stuff that needs to be done to buy the car. So that service writer should be able to still get comped on that, and then throw them a bonus on top of it if you acquire it. I think would kind of be some of that best practices based on what they're paying at the lane and transportation.
Oh, the percentage of the auction fees plus the transportation alone, I mean, is an exorbitant amount right now. So, not to mention the time that it takes for the car to get from, wherever it happens to be located to your store. I mean, because time is money. So all that involved, you can be more choosy on the vehicles that you're looking at. You know the condition of the vehicles, so it's a lot better scenario to try and buy those cars locally. Street purchases, we're touching, we're seeing, we're feeling them. So it's a better profit center.
Yeah, and I a POP, point of purchase, and that's a marketing term of when somebody's checking out or somebody's at a retail store. Right at the point of purchase, there's little, you know, gum and candy and other items as credit cards. Hey, would you like to apply for a credit card while you're checking out? And I think dealers need to take advantage of that. Their service lane, as the customer's paying that $1,000 service bill, saying something like, hey, would you like Jasen Rice Motors to take care of the service bill for you? Well, what do you mean? Well, if you let us acquire your car, we will do all this work. It won't cost you a dime, and we could, trade you in a new one for maybe the same payment. Obviously, you want to try to do that beforehand, but again, it's a win-win, because if you get the service rider, can still get the comp because we'll do the work on it anyways. Customer, you save the money, don't have to spend the $1,000, either put that down on a new car or what have you. But and again, I think the point you brought up is a service BDC, and I think as a service BDC scheduling these appointments, that starting that conversation then would be better, because if you're scheduling confirming appointments and stuff like that, and you bring it up and the customer's like, I just bought this car, no, I'm not interested in it, you guys, not to hit that customer. But if they say, yeah, we might be interested in getting a number on it, now who's coming in that you got potential on. But I think the biggest one that you brought up would be missed trades. A couple things that you're talking about, on the missed trades, I think needs to be visited, because yeah, a lot of dealers say they do service deal or will do a save a deal, but also every dealer I talk to will tell me, well, we don't miss any deals if there's a trade involved. But we probably see that time and time again, don't we? Every time we're on these calls.
Well, you see it when we look at our switch opportunities. How many of those cars, and that's one area that I really stress right now to all my customers, is that look at all your trades. Look at all your leads. How many trades are on those leads? People don't normally put their trades in the system, right? They want to sneak up on us, I guess you could say. They're looking to buy that car, and they don't really want to tell you what they're driving at this point in time. And we miss that opportunity seeing those, right? And so we know that when if we sell the car and that lead is now a lost lead, I guess you could say, we've got to
Mm-hmm.
switch those people to something else. We missed the trade there. We didn't even ask them about the trade for the most part, right? Doesn't even show
Yeah.
up, not even in the system. So how many more opportunities could we have if we were to focus on, missed trades and then our leads that don't have trades on them? So
Yeah, because I mean, no better honey hole to go look for some vehicles to purchase than the leads you already have and the cars they're already inquired about, that or gave you information about they're wanting to trade. And my point, your point, when they go to Auto Trader to fill out a contact form on a vehicle, the customer's on Auto Trader, says, hey, I'm interested in this car. At that point in time, Auto Trader's not asking about trade information, so that lead comes in without it. Well, most dealerships have some kind of BDC or salespeople. They're probably running a script trying to get an appointment, trying to get them in the door. And I think really with that misstep in that process is asking, are they trading a vehicle? Are you buying another vehicle, or are you replacing one? And I think they're afraid to have that conversation because they don't want to miss, that opportunity to get the appointment. If I bring up trade in, they're going to want to know what it's worth, and they won't show up if they don't like their numbers. But to your point, I think customers are already probably shopped to see, one online, see what it could be worth. Might have submitted the Carvana or CarMax to see what it's worth. And maybe they plan on selling it themselves, but won't want to bring it up. I think you're going to have that conversation one way or the other, right? And I don't think they're doing it. And I don't know if you've looked at the numbers. I think I peeked them in a little bit, but what percentage of your leads don't have trade-ins or do have trade information?
very small percentage of them in there. I mean, I just looked at one earlier today on a store, and they had 200 leads, and there may have been 25 cars with trades on them.
Yeah, 10, 20% tops, even though at least half our deals will have trade-ins involved, at least. And that's the ones we don't have conversations with because they already went and had, got a deal on their car, right?
And if they don't follow up on those particular leads, that they're not going to ask that question. I mean, then those are perfect people to call back and say, "What are you doing with your trade? What were you driving?" I mean, what's the fear of asking the question at that point in time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we miss so many opportunities, going after merchandise. So
Yeah, and we're talking to them. We might as well bring it up because it's in the back of their head if it's not in the front of their mind already, and they're just afraid that we're going to screw them. So they're going to try to either sell it themselves or go to this place that gives a persona that they're not going to screw them because it's all upfront and transparent. So when we're not transparent with that process, the customers are just going to go somewhere that promote that it is. And to your point, it's a whole buy-in from your website to social media to service to that. We acquire cars and we make it quick, fast, and easy. And if it's a buy-in, then those conversations on leads should be easy to happen. Now, that's the thing. One of the benefits of our tool is you'll be able to, and it doesn't matter the CRM, Vin, Drive Centric, eLeads, Dealer Socket, all of them. If they have trade-in information and we're getting that, we can isolate all leads with trades and then start following up. I think that's a different conversation too, right? You talk about salespeople and the sales BDC, but if I've been calling and emailing about this Dodge Charger this customer has been trying to buy for me and they won't return my phone call, but I see they're trying to trade in a Kia Rio or whatever, right? Maybe I switch up this call and say, hey, I know you inquired about this Dodge, but I'm really interested in your Kia. We need some vehicles, and you seem like something we'd be willing to give a little extra money for. I don't know if those conversations are happening.
I don't think they are. They're not that, and even there, they're not recording them in their CRMs. They're in the Bible that you've got in there. We've got to see that information. You know
Yeah.
that we may need an extra $1,000 or so to make that payment for them, and if we don't know the trades are there, it. But if we do see, and I would ask the question, how many cars are in your driveway, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or do you
Good.
know anybody that's trying to sell a vehicle? I mean, just like we ask for referrals, right? This is You ask that question about trades.
Yeah. I just came back from a conference and I was talking about how you want to work the driveway, not the lead. My wife submitted a lead. The lady never followed up with her after she visited the dealership. And within a month, my wife bought. But not only that, within a 12-month period, there's 4 car deals in my driveway. Between my daughter's lease coming up, my wife's lease up, she bought a car. My 16-year-old needed a car. I co-signed for my son for a car. All in 12 months. That if that person would have followed up with the work, to your point, work the driveway and not the lead, there's way more opportunities there too. And again, that's I think another area I think dealers should chime in on. So not to wrap it up, but we tend to have 15, 20 minutes, and let's talk about all in. Like you said, we talked to Jeremy about private party acquisitions, but that's one area. The rest is buy-in from everybody, from service lane to website to social media to service BDC to sales BDC. If you give like one tip, one focus area, where would you think the biggest opportunity for most dealers would be right now? If at the end of this, they go, okay, I'm going to focus here first.
To get the store involvement, I would have a process for all the employees, and I would have a store meeting and bring it up, right? And set up a payment plan or a commission plan, and celebrate it when we actually buy some cars, right? You give them a cash, of course you have to take taxes out of it eventually, but make get it exciting, right?
Yeah.
That's exciting for some people in the store. And
Ring
well,
the
like
bell.
managers, ring the bell, right? We need as many people coming and bringing us deals as we need them bringing us trades and bringing us merchandise, right? We can
Yeah.
stay out of the auctions at that point in time if we were to do it. And those are the cars that are selling, right? Those trades. How much better do we do on trades than we do on purchases?
Yeah. And to your point, private party acquisition is a lot of work and a lot of muck to weed through. But if you just stop and I'm not saying forget about private party acquisitions, but if you just stopped and looked around your showroom and go, there's 10 cars going into my service lane. Here's a customer. There's 100 leads in my CRM that don't have trade-in information on it. There's 5 appraisals I did yesterday and 4 we missed. Are we revisiting those? There's so much sitting in the dealership right now that, private party would be an add-on once you get all these tight, right?
One person can't do all that. It takes a team. If you're a smaller store and you don't have a team, a buying center, then you use your employees. Everybody's got a grandmother. Somebody's going into a nursing home. You got somebody that passed away. I mean, there's vehicles on the side of the road. You got vehicles in your neighborhood that people are selling. There are vehicles everywhere for sale from private individuals. Over 50% of the cars are sold that way.
Yeah.
We need to tap that. And as a store, you could use all your employees to do it.
Very good. Very good. Well, again, Pam, thank you so much for your insight. Again, we do these view from the top. They're in our weekly newsletter. You can go to lotpop.com and sign up for those. They're great articles if you like reading. If not, check us out each week on these view from the top interviews from our team. Again, Pam, thank you so much for your time today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.